Most people don't realize that sharing your media server is often the hardest part. Not because Plex or Jellyfin make it difficult, but because every new user has questions. Where do I sign up? How do I get access? Which app do I install? Why can't I see anything? Before long, you're playing tech support instead of enjoying your server. That's where Wizarr comes in. Wizarr creates a professional invitation system that walks your users through the entire setup process. Whether you're running Plex, Jellyfin, Emby, Audio Bookshelf, or several other platforms, it makes inviting users incredibly simple. Today, I'll show you how to install it, configure it, and connect your media servers so that you can send your first invitation. I'll be installing Wizarr on an Unraid server since that's what I use in my home. Wizarr runs in Docker, so once it's installed, everything I'm about to show you is essentially the same. Whether you're running this on TrueNAS, Unraid, CasaOS, OpenMediaVault, or any other Docker host out there. Now, let's get it installed. Installing Wizarr on Unraid is incredibly easy. We're going to go over to our Apps tab. In the top left, go to the search box, and we're going to type in Wizarr, W-I-Z-A-R-R. And speaking of the spelling here, I first told my wife about this, and she's like, Wizarr, what are you doing, some kind of peeing app or something? After I got done laughing at her, I had to enunciate a little bit and say it was Wizarr, not Wizarr. She recently started her own YouTube channel around yoga. I will put a little clip at the end of something that she did the other day that I found humorous. So if you're into yoga, there'll be a fun little clip at the end. But for now, let's get this installed. We'll click on install. Once the template comes up here, the only thing I'm really going to look at is the port, make sure it's not in use. If this is your first time watching my channel, let me show you what I'm doing here. I'll go down to show Docker allocations. I'll double click on that port number, hit Control F, brings up the browser's find feature. It shows two results. Right here they are. What I'm doing is making sure that it is not in use already by another container. And it's not, it's free to use, so I'll move on. Everything else, I'm just gonna leave on defaults. Just gonna scroll down. I'll hide these Docker allocations just to clean it up, hit apply, and let it install. While it's installing, if you haven't joined our Discord server yet, I'll leave a link for that below. It's a growing community, lots of engaged people there. So come and join us, we'd love to have you. Once Wizarr is installed, we'll go over to our Docker tab. I'll find it in the list, drop down, and select Web UI. Now that it's installed, let's create our admin account. For the username, I'm just going to put in demo since this is my demo machine. Password, I'll do my super secret one, if I can spell it. Once you've got the password in there and it's confirmed, I'll click Create Account, and that'll bring me into the program. There we go. It's installed and the user is created. Now let's go set it up. On the top, over on the right-hand side, you'll find Settings. Click onto there. You'll open up to the General tab. Here, the only thing you really need to worry about is the display name, and you don't even need to worry about this, but you can just put in a custom name for it. So I'll do Demo Wizarr, maybe, there we go. Below there, you have settings for access control, user management, and API key management. We don't need any of that right now, so just hit Save Settings at the bottom and go back up. Let's go to Alerts. Here, you can set up your custom notification services that can alert you if something happens, new users join, that kind of stuff. By clicking on Add Agent, under Notification Service, you can see what's available. We've got Apprise, Discord, and a few others down below. If you want to enable a service, go ahead and select yours, fill in the details, and then hit Test and Create. Next over, we've got servers. This is where you connect your media servers at. To do that, we're going to click Add Server. First thing that it wants is a name. It's suggesting my Plex. Let's just call it Plex for the first one. Server type, Plex. There are several here to choose from. Plex, Jellyfin, Emby, Audio Bookshelf, ROM-M, Kamga, and Kavita. I'll choose Plex first. Put in the internal URL for Plex, which is going to be http:// then the IP address of your Plex server. My demo server is there, :32400. Next, we have external URL. This is the external URL address. If you have one, you'd put it in here. I don't have one on my demo machine, so I'll move on. API key. Finding this in Plex is not the most straightforward thing, so let me show you how to do that. I'm going to go back to my Docker containers. I'll find Plex in the list here, open it up. To find the API key or the Plex token, what we need to do is find a piece of media. So let me open up something here. TV shows, sure. Beverly Hillbillies, sounds great. Got to drill down to an actual episode, so let me open up season 1. We'll find the first episode here. Click on the 3 dots in the bottom right corner of it. We'll drop down, do Get Info. For the window that pops up, we want to click on View XML in the bottom left. Then up here in the URL bar, all the way over to the right, you'll find X Plex Token equals, and then a random string of characters. That random string at the end is your Plex token or your API key. Once you find it, copy it. We'll go back to Wizarr and we'll paste that in the API key field. Below, you'll find several optional conditions here. You can decide whether or not you want to have them on or off. Simply click on them to toggle it on, click again to toggle it off. Pretty straightforward. Here you can designate whether you want to allow downloads, allow live TV, and allow mobile uploads. Once you have your choices selected, go ahead and hit Scan Libraries. And you'll see it'll pull in the libraries that you have on your Plex server. At this point, you can select or deselect the ones that you want or don't want. I'm going to leave them all, and I'll click Test and Add. And you'll see that Plex has been verified and it's connected. If you have more servers, it's the same process. Go ahead and click Add Server. Choose something else. I'm going to do Jellyfin. Clean this up a little bit. Open up Jellyfin, and we'll fill in the same details. It's going to want the URL, so let me grab that. Paste that in for the internal URL. Might as well give it a name. External URL, if you had one, it'd go there. API key, let's go grab that. To do that, we'll go to the avatar in the top right. Under administration, we want dashboard. Over on the left-hand side, scroll down, you'll find API keys. Here, you click new API key, choose a name. This is for Wizarr, so I'll put that in. Great. It creates the API key. Select it and go back to Wizarr and paste it in. Below that, you've got more options again, allow downloads and allow live TV. Scan libraries, shows you the libraries, test and add. And there you go, Jellyfin's added. If you have any other servers, it's the same process. Go ahead and add one, put in the URL, API key, and just fill out the fields. It's pretty simple. Next, we've got activity. This allows you to manage the activity and monitoring data. You have the option down below to import information. So you can select your server, date range, whatever you want, import historical data, and it'll start importing all that information. That one's done. Let's drop down Duplex. I'm sure I don't have any data since this is the demo machine, but that's how you do it. All right, next we have connections. This is where Wizarr connects to other services like Jellyfin, Overseer. I use Seerr myself, but there's also audio book request, I think is the name of it. Let's go find out. Click Add Connection. Ombi, that's one of them. Overseer and Jellyfin, and then audiobook request, yes. As you can see for Ombi here, it wants a connection name, the media server that it's using, the service URL, and the API key for it. If you go to the Overseer or Jellyfin one, it tells you this is information only. In a nutshell, it says if you go to one of those applications, you can go to Settings, Users, Enable Auto-Approve New Users, and import Jellyfin and Plex users, and that'll take care of the user creation process for you. Nothing to put in here, hit connection, doesn't do anything. Can't put in a name, so if you're using Seerr, then you have to go back to there to configure it. We'll get out of here. Next, we have admins. Admins are the administrators for the Wizarr server itself. I just have the one, but if you wanted extra ones, this is where you can go add them at. Next over, we've got LDAP. If you're running an LDAP server and you have all your users controlled in one location, you just fill out the information here, the URL, TLS, verify cert, whatever you need. Test a connection. If you're running LDAP, then you know what this stuff is. Back to the top. Last option is Wizard. This is one of my favorite features. This thing's really kind of nice. This allows you to completely customize the user's onboarding experience. You can create welcome messages. You can explain how things work, where to go, what to click on, that kind of stuff. I think it's a great way to answer people's questions before they even ask them. This comes predefined with a few after invite acceptance messages. What is Jellyfin? If we edit it, you can see what it is. It's all in Markdown, so you've got some flexibility there, which is kind of nice. Let's back out of this, and I'll show you how to create one. Let's do a before invite acceptance for Jellyfin. We go to create, we can create a step. Server type, you can choose what you want. I said Jellyfin, so let's do that. Category, is this after the invite acceptance or before? We wanted before, so make sure you select that one. Title, we'll just call this hello. And then in here, we'll put in some information, just something simple. I'm just gonna copy and paste this in. So what they'll see when they get the invite, they'll see hello new user. To get started, click the button below, then return here and click continue to invite. Let's go ahead and add a button now. So here we're gonna click add. We'll choose button. You can change the URL to whatever you'd like. I'm just gonna leave it at defaults just so you can see how it works. You can change the text icon on the button, leaving it all in defaults, like I said. Below there, you've got the option to require user interaction. Do you want to block the user from continuing until they click on the button? Sure, let's do that. Select that box, hit save. Now you'll see the before invite acceptance is there. You can go ahead and create more now, or you can create one for the Plex users or whatever you'd like. Once you've got all your messages set up, let's create our first invitation. To do that, we can go back to invitations on the top or home, either one. You'll see at the top of home, you have new invite. Same thing with invitations. So like I said, either one. Click on new invitation. Invite code string. This is optional. You can create your own custom code string to put in. Putting something in here will make it part of the URL, and that will make it easier for you to recognize if you need to work on this invitation later on. To show you that, I'm just going to click in here and we'll create something for Jellyfin. We'll just call it Jellyfin. Perfect. Expiration. How long do you want this link to be available? Under the dropdown, you've got other options here: day, week, month, or never. Under advanced options, you can change this. You have unlimited usages. So if it's set to never or a week, people can use it as many times as they'd like. The duration in days. This is not the number of days that the link is available. It is the number of days that the user has access to your server. It's really kind of nice. If you want to give somebody temporary access, they wanted to watch one movie or whatever, you could give them a day's access. They could watch it, and then they lose their access. Pretty easy to use. Click in there, type in a number, and you're good. Below there, you've got target servers. We're working with Jellyfin here. You can change the individual rights for this one invite. You can turn on allow downloads or allow TV access. If they're already on, you could turn them off here as well. You can set the number of sessions. Under select libraries, you can drop down and select what you want them to have access to. If you don't want them to have access to your personal photos, you can turn that off. Once you have everything set the way you want it, down at the bottom, click create invitation. And there is your newly generated link. If you have external URL set up, it would use the external URL. This is only internal for me, so it's got the internal addresses. And you'll see the custom code that we had created, Jellyfin. It's there at the end of the URL. So now you simply just copy the link, send it to your friend or family member. We'll close this. I'll pretend I'm my friend. I just got the link. I clicked on it. It took me to the page. And here we are. And here's our custom before you accept invite message. Hello, new user. To get started, click the button below, then return here to click continue to invite. If we click on continue to invite, it doesn't work because we had that option turned on where they had to click the button first. So we'll click here. Opens up the page that you had set it to. We're done with that. Close it. Now we can click on continue to invite. And there we have it. You've been invited. There's a custom server name we had set up. We click accept invitation. We fill out the information and our account will be created on Jellyfin. I don't believe I have one for my personal first name, so we'll put in something here. Fill out the details. 42, not 43. Password. Sure. Invite code. Good. Create account. So at this point, the user account has been created. And now we're presented with the after account creation messages that we had set up in Wizarr, the ones that were already there. It's showing some library data, the messages that were already in there. We'll hit next. The next message here allows us to select a download client. It's very nice. We'll move on. Next one is to get the best quality. This is what you set your settings at. Now we'll click on go to Jellyfin. It wants us to log in. Perfect. I had done me, put in the user and the password, and click sign in. And there we go. It's created access to Jellyfin, and we didn't really have to do anything on our end. That's pretty fantastic. And you'll see that I've got access to movies, music, and shows, but no photos. One of the nice things with Wizarr back here under the invitation system, you can create multiple invites for multiple different things, different time lengths, different users, different whatever you want. One-time invite, have it expire after it's used. This one here, if I go back and try to do it again, you'll see that it's expired. It's been used once. It's done. It's kind of nice that it also has a quick rundown of what it is, date it's created, when it expires. I did go back and set this to a 2-day expiration. What libraries you have access to. If you have one that you're going to use more than one time, you've got unlimited invites or whatever. This little clipboard here allows you to copy the invite link. Trash can gets rid of it. So now you can go through and set up every invite that you'd like to set up. Every type of invitation can have different permissions. You can allow downloads or deny downloads, enable or disable live TV. There's pretty much an unlimited amount of stuff that you can set up. You can choose which libraries they have access to. You can customize access for each connected server that you've got. Have one for Plex, different one for Jellyfin. You can choose whether or not you want them to be unlimited access, so you can share them and have them available every single time. Or you can have a one-time invite. Once it's used, it's done. If you want to give somebody temporary access, you've got the ability to set up the duration so that the users automatically lose access after a set amount of days. Once they're all set up, you can just copy the code, send the invitation URL to your friend or your family member. Then when they open the link, they're pretty much guided through the entire process. One thing to note is that if they're joining your Plex server, they'll need to use their own Plex account to accept the invitation. And then your server will appear in their list of servers. As you've seen with Jellyfin, this allows the users to create their own user account on your server. For the other platforms, Wizarr guides them through the appropriate process for creating the account. Now, instead of answering the same questions over and over again, Wizarr handles the entire onboarding process for you. If you regularly share your media server with family and friends, this is one of those applications you wonder how you ever lived without it. If you found this video helpful, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe while you're at it, because I've got plenty more self-hosting, Docker, Jellyfin, Plex, and Home Lab content coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And don't leave yet if you want to see the clip of my wife.
And sink in. Take a moment of stillness. Take a slow walk up to the top of the mat. Just gonna do a couple sun salutations. Ow, son of a... Did not see that coming. Okay, reset.